Okay, demonstration on the beginning on the flowers. We're going to use New Gamboge on this. And Charlie Neiman did sort of a peach color flower, so he did a mixture, and it looked really good. But this is what I'm using and recommending. I didn't bring my brushes back upstairs, so I'm using a brush that isn't my favorite. Yeah, it doesn't hold near as much liquid. So I am applying New Gamboge, and here's the important thing about this. You may feel like you're not doing much because I want you to put on a really weak amount of this. I'm going to go back out to my car and get another brush. I don't like this. In a larger size, I think these may work really well. I tried one the other day and I liked it, but this is that Princeton Aqua Elite, but it is just not holding much liquid. Well, I got lazy and picked this up instead. This is a some people call them oval brushes. I always heard them called cat's tongues. It's sort of a cross between a flat and a round, and it doesn't do the job of either to suit me, but it is one of those squirrel brushes. It's basically a black velvet brush. It's just got Daniel Smith's name on it, but it's a black velvet brush. Yeah, see, that will pick up the liquid and carry it where I want it. I like that Aqua Elite for fine lines, you know, where you use a little pointy brush. But and Brenda Driggers showed me a large size of the round, a 16, that seemed to lay the color in very nicely. But boy, that little one that I've got, I didn't like it at all. All right, so I'm just laying in, so you can see real thin layers of New Gamboge, just keeping it really pale, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so you could see that I had done some on this flower, so that gives you an idea of where we're headed. So now I'm going to Quinn Gold. And for the most part, some of this shading is just made up. These flowers in reality are at least inspired by these. And they're backlit. So you can see where one petal overlaps another. There's a dark area where there's two petals together. So I'm kind of using that, and I'm kind of trying to give the shape of a flower. So this is an implied flower, a very abstracted flower. It's not. I don't have something really good to go by. So I am getting the bottom part of the flower pretty dark there. And then what I'm doing is I'm adding water out here. That would be my start on this. Oh, and here on the stem, I at least want to fade that out. So you could be pretty, I'm kind of messing with it to maybe give it just a touch of texture there. And I think I'll add more water out in here. So this was pretty concentrated paint that I put on there. And I might even come back and blot on it or do more stuff to it. Eventually, I'm going to have to add another layer of this to get some good shape in it. And we want a strong value in here, which is where Queen Gold is so great, because most people don't even realize that that's a yellow, because it can go so dark. Okay, so let's go with that, and then let's see. I was picking it up right here out of the palette, out of the well, and I'm just gonna again add some dark down in here. It sort of tells your brain that this is where the center of the flower is, although of course we can't see inside the flower because we're looking at the back side of it. I'll just blot. This is a la Shirley Trevena, because when in doubt, whoops, got that on too strong. When in doubt, Shirley Trevena just picks up a paper towel, and she uses cheap ones. Don't you dare in my class, though. And just blots. Okay, we'll leave that. And let's get a little more liquid on this. So I'm almost falling into just a pattern there. I've done all of them kind of like this. And we can't see the centers on any of these poppies. Maybe we ought to do another one and turn it the other way, huh? Turn them the other way. Okay, so a little bit of color there. Let's let that dry. Oh, well, look, I've got a background there. See, it's so wet, the color's pushing it the other way. I think I don't want an edge there. I'm good with a little texture. In fact, let's just go in here and drop a little water in a place or two and make some little backgrounds. But I don't want a big, hard, arched edge there. So I took that out. Okay. Yeah, see, there I got a background. I love a background when I want one. When I don't, that's different. Okay, so we want some really light areas left on these flowers. It's important for them to have light areas too. Oh, look at that edge. See, I don't like that edge. Let's just get that wet, and we'll give it a little blot there. You know, that works on a lot of things. I wouldn't do it on faces, but something like this, you just get a little teeny bit of subtle texture. A little texture, a little subtle texture, just like we have in the stripes, is good. Overwhelming texture is a whole other story. Okay. Okay, I got that dry. So, I'm going to do a couple more things to these to make them a little more flower-like. Let's get a little more Queen Gold going here. And so there's a couple things we can do. You can see that, like this petal, if I drew it out all the way, and you on your piece to trace, on your line drawing, you have some dotted lines there. I didn't put them in, but it would make a shadow like this. So here's the thing. That's way too dark, and it's it's mechanical looking. See that hard edge right along here? That's very mechanical looking. Along the edge of the petal, that's not so bad. But first thing let's do, because I got that too dark, is let's just drop some water in there. Oh wow, that's pretty good there. But let's also just break into that mechanical looking edge at some point. We'll just give it a little blot there. Okay, so we broke that line, so it's not a continuous line. It's just softened there a little bit. Maybe I'll soften it a little bit right down here. Oh, okay, I like that, just like that. Here's another one where one petal goes behind another. You don't want too much of this going on, though. You just want suggestions here and there. It can start to look too fake, like I said, too mechanical, even though in reality, they stand out pretty well in reality. Somehow when I'm painting them, I have to smudge them up a bit. There's a little bit of something there. Could do that. You know, I don't like the shape of this. Now that I look at it, it needs to be rounded out more. So now I've got to break that edge. That edge isn't as dark though. I could actually go with that the way it is. Maybe I'll just touch it with a paper towel. Okay, there. So the other thing I could do to these is I could make some little, you know, this has some little crinkles in the petals. They're very thin, delicate petals. So maybe I could have a little bit of shading on some of these petals. Again, that looks terribly artificial. So all I got to do to fix that is add that little bit of water right down here and break that up like that. This one, and we'll just do a little something there. And I could even take a clean wet brush and just kind of stamp across it like that. Yeah, it's not bad. You know, you want them to be subtle. See, I've taken up a whole lot of the color that I just put down. I kept messing with it until it started looking right. Also, this area right here would actually be dark. And then it would sort of fade into that. I still don't like that shape. You know what? I'm just going to add some water here and yeah. Okay. So I almost have no clean edge over here at all. There's just a bare suggestion. But I'm happy with that. I've got a little back run there, what I just did. I'm good with that too. Okay. So here, maybe we'll do one of these. It's really important not to cover your whole flower, to keep some of these very light areas very light. Right down here is the edge of one petal that has another petal in front of it. But instead of making that, you know, a hard edge there, I'll just fade that one out. And let's see, right here I could have the same thing going on. I'm going to put this in the mail, which will be, so this is an unfinished piece, but those of you that are following this online, I'll put it in the mail. You know, that might be enough there. This one, I don't know if I want to get too detailed with it. Got some nice texture in there. Let's just make it a little darker. In fact, that one could get a little darker too. So that's the other thing, is to look and make sure that you've got this strong, this Queen Gold on here strong enough that it kind of pops. And you've got the pale up in here. I've got some edges on that I don't like. And if you get something darker than you want, pick up Mr. Magic. Oh, Mr. Clean. Oh, I need to paint that thing, but now I've got everything wet. Let's come over here and let's just put a little more color in down here. I just like to strengthen that a little bit. So I'm working on dry paper because I've taken this and dried it. But I'm just reminding you, everything that I've done today started out on dry paper. Even the blues started out on dry paper, no pre-wetting. Oh, Mr. Clean. I didn't clean that edge up very well either. Remember, when you use Mr. Clean, it needs to be wet. Not the paper, the Mr. Clean needs to be wet. The sponge. Okay, there. Let's see how that goes. Oh, so let's put in a few more of these little things. Don't always put in the same number. I put in 2, well, and that thing over there. Maybe I'll just show 1 here. You notice none of this is perfect at all. And it just works because of the looseness. Nothing has to be perfect. Let's see. That is supposed to be this petal twisted, but I kind of didn't do so well with it. There's a couple of places that might have crinkles in them. Okay, that's about enough. Oh, it's got to have something on it. Maybe just a tiny bit more color. There we go. Something like that. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna change my mind here and I'm going to just kind of smooth that out, because we'll figure out what to do with this later. I think I have a plan. Okay, so we're not doing the stems other than if you want to run some of your color down the stem, because you don't want to just come down and stop, you know, and look like it's chopped off. But we've got all these little pods and stems, and we'll work with those the next week. But here's our blues and our flowers. So this is the end of Blue Stripes Part 2. And Part 2 is really the end of the first class, because this is how far we got in my Thursday class. So, bye till next time. Okay, this is the end of the video.